Well, it's chilly on the Willie today, I'll tell you what. I'm down the lake again, and it is a blizzard all night long. Went down to minus 18 day before yesterday, night before last, I think. Then we made that funny video yesterday when we found those somebody shooting. I guess somebody packed a couple of discarded fire alarm bells up into this old log sort yard up the road, up the valley. So we made it into a toboggan and sent that little thing down the slope about 50 times. The videotaped it. It was a lot of fun. It's funny. It's kind of sad how many dark souls there are out there, isn't it? And I always tell everybody how I like to look at everything from different angles, right? And offer up for everybody to come in and look at everything from just a different little bit of an angle. After what I've learned over the years, when it comes to a lot of the miserable people online or anywhere on the planet, I mean, look at that video I just posted yesterday. That little girl having the time of her life, sliding down her butt in the snow, and was it a dozen people didn't like that. And I know it can make a lot of people want to be angry and lash out, but I'm going to share a little story with you when it comes to some of these individuals. It's a possibility, right? It'll just relate to what's possibly happened to them in the past, okay? When I was growing up, there's a kid down the road, a few blocks away, and he's just an asshole, like a full-on asshole. Him and he had his little asshole buddy, and he was predominantly a real bully type, always picking on everybody. And this went on all through school, elementary school, the middle school, and the high school, and even in adulthood. You end up drinking heavy and fighting all the time. Just a real prick. Never liked him at all. Locked horns with him a few times. And then, you always just think somebody's just miserable. It's just a miserable, dark soul. But then, and not that long ago either, it came out that he was being molested, sexually molested by a man. I think it was either his uncle or a family friend for years through his childhood. Okay? So what I'm saying is a lot of people out there who are dark and miserable, there's usually a solid, sad reason behind it, okay? And it's going to be, obviously it's hard not to want to go knock them on their ass, but it's just the fact that is sadly the reason behind their actions. Something real bad's happened to them throughout their lifetime, and they can't shake it, and they haven't been able to deal with it properly, and they lash out. Okay, so just remember that one when you see people blowing a gasket online and being mean and dark and miserable. Okay? Move the camera. Thought the sun was going to come out and give a bit of a view, but a little bit, not too much. It's a little better than just staring at those stupid two trees of me in the timber there. But anyway, getting back to what I was talking about, when people are dark and angry and miserable like that, there's always a reason behind it, and it's not a good one. I can't imagine what my demeanor would be like if that had happened to me throughout my childhood, and I wasn't offered up the protection or the tools to deal with it properly, right? So, sadly, every time I do see somebody displaying a very dark, angry, miserable side to them, that's what I remember, is that specific story. And it somewhat helps me deal with people like that, or bite my lip at times, But then again, there's the other side of the coin. There's other people out there. There's a different flavor of misery, and those are the ones that want us or me to shut up and not have any kind of a stage or platform to speak, or allow people to speak. And those people are typically quite dark, opportunistic types. And those are the ones it's not so bad to kick their asses, right? But anyway, one thing I do in my travels, which is, and I'm alone quite often, right? I do a lot of thinking, do a lot of listening when I can to intelligent people when I have the connection to the internet where I got a hold of them where I can listen to them. And what I'll do is I'll come up with random thoughts that what I would like to talk to people about, or bring awareness to, or something. And I never get around to doing it, so I'm going to go down. I got a list of random thoughts that I've jotted down in my notes as I've been driving along, or hiking along, or sitting in the timber, or sitting on the mountain, or whatever. We'll see if I got something here. As an example, it'll be like, there's a trail cam photo, fuzzy thing. I have a trail camera photo from this fall. And it's a little odd. It just looks odd to me. And I keep reminding myself to post and share with you guys. Because it's, I always have two cameras set. One for backup, one in video, one for photo on my important game trails where I'm hunting. And, you know, very, very rarely I'll get something on a trail camera. It kind of makes me take a look back and go, whoa, what's that? And, well, this one particular photo, I kind of looking at it. I had a whole pile of photos off this one camera. I'm looking at it, I'm like, what? That looks kind of odd, you know? So I'll post up a clear backdrop from this camera. And then another photo with, say, a deer in the camera. I'll post up 3 different flavors of photos from this trail camera. And then the one in question, I'll let you have a look at what I'm looking at. And I can't figure it out because it's not a foggy, moist blemish on the lens of the camera because the deer comes in crystal clear. So this weird shapes, whatever it is behind the deer in the field of view of the camera. And I thought, well, maybe it's the breath from the deer or something, but I don't think so. It's really weird, isn't it? It's just a weird trail camera photo. But anyway, I wanted to share that with all you guys, and throwing down the notes here just reminded me of that. And I got like camera settings. I've written down some more camera settings. Here's another thought. No one owns or controls this narrative. No one. Because I keep thinking about that the odd time too. The odd time when a lot of people message me and they'll tell me about other YouTube channels and other so-called big names in the Bigfoot, Sasquatch, what's it called again, community world, and how they just can't stand me. They want me to be quiet, and they flat out tell their subscribers or viewers that if my name or How to Hunt comes up in any of the comments or anywhere, they'll block them. And it's funny. When I first started speaking for all of you, as one of you, and trying to get everybody to see the amount of bullshit that's going on out here when it comes to information shared on this topic, it's amazing how many people there are, their egos have actually had them convinced that they are the authority on this topic and they are to be answered to. Just remember to adjust the camera. I just make sure it's still running, hit record. I hate it when sometimes I forget to do that. And anyway, just so you all know, there basically isn't anyone on the face of the planet that you need to answer to when it comes to this topic in your experience. There's no one, okay? There's no one that you need to give you a pat on the back or confirmation of what you've seen or what you know you saw or haven't seen. There isn't anyone. And there's no one who controls anyone or this narrative when it comes to this topic of these unknown, unacknowledged beings that tens of thousands of people have seen. There just isn't. And it is quite amazing, though, for me to observe a lot of these egos, these characters, how they carry themselves when it comes to this topic, and other people who have had experiences with this topic as well. Right? It's kind of odd. It's really odd to me. You know, you take for instance that guy that was with the guy that filmed the Sasquatch Patterson film footage years ago. All right, so the guy stood there and held on to some horses while the other guy ran after Sasquatch filming it. And today, that man is treated as though he's some kind of a celebrity or a Sasquatch god or an expert, right? When meanwhile, the amount of you out there who have had that exact same experience, plus even more and multiple, is right off the charts, right? And that makes tens of thousands of you far more experienced in this topic than that one man, right? Maybe I'm getting my point across clearly, maybe I'm not. But if you think I'm being insulting to anyone, and this is what I'm saying right now is upsetting, you should probably check yourself in and get some serious freaking counseling. Because the fact of the matter is, there is tens of thousands of you out there who have had these beings on your rural property, in your hunting camps, standing there looking at you from 10 feet away to 15 feet away for numerous times, tapping on your windows, watching your kids sleep, throwing rocks and sticks at you, stealing your game, whatever, right? Now, when you know that, if you look back in all these emails and all these experiences that have been shared through me with all of you, now you compare those experiences of all those people with the experiences of the so-called big names in the Sasquatch Bigfoot community. And you tell me who's the expert. All right? You tell me which one of those people is someone that apparently you need to answer to, or apparently owns or controls this narrative. There isn't one of them. All right? So, and again, what I'm just saying is you got to look at everything from a different angle. Okay? All right, so somebody's on a reality show. Oh my God, they're on a Sasquatch reality show. Oh my God, they must be an expert. Really? I don't think so. All right, I'm going to stop myself from going off there on a tangent, but that's just what I'm trying to tell all of you is quit thinking you need a pat on the back or the pat on the bum from one of these so-called big names in the researcher or the Bigfoot Sasquatch community, because you don't. It's a joke. Okay? And that is one of the easier examples I can share with you is if you take a look at that one old guy who happened to be there holding on to the horses while the other guy filmed Sasquatch running away. Great catcher, for sure. That definitely does not make him an authority on the topic. It just doesn't. If him and another partner or anybody else went out and consistently filmed Sasquatch running away from the camera in broad daylight numerous times, it'd be safe bet to say they were frickin' experts and knew what they were doing, right? But once in 50 plus years, that doesn't make you an expert or an authority on anything Sasquatch related. It just doesn't. So what I'm getting at, and I guess what I'm trying to get at is every single one of you that have had an experience with one of these things is just as much of an expert, if not more, than the average person that you see on YouTube or TV speaking on the subject. Okay? That's all there is to it. You can take any doctor, any wildlife biologist, any forensic studying footprint, dermal ridge, scientifically trained expert in the planet. They're not an expert on the topic, and they don't have more authority on the topic than you. If you have stood there and looked one of these things in the eyeballs. They just don't. Okay? The second you see one of these things, you are right up there with what's known about them. Instantly. Firsthand. But anyway, that's another thing I want to share with you guys. No one owns or controls the narrative of this topic. There is no true experts. Well, actually, I know a couple people that are pretty knowledgeable on the topic. And they'll deny that they're experts, but we'll talk about those guys later. There's a lot coming with those guys later. What else we got here? Oh, Oklahoma hunting season. Oh my God. You know, it's funny. I'm not an authority on much. I have a lot of angling and hunting, big game hunting experience for sure. A lot of backwoods experience. I got a lot of knowledge I can share. But one thing I notice while I'll have time and I'm surfing I'll get caught on YouTube watching stuff. And I'll see some of the most insane topics that mainstream actually focuses on. As an example, I don't even know how I came across this. I guess that actor, Alec Baldwin's wife, she's been faking a Spanish accent or something for years. Who cares? Whatever. It's zero concern. And you know how it works online. When you look up a topic, then your feed gets flooded with those similar topics, similar videos get suggested to you. So next thing you know, there's like a dozen, even more, videos of this big controversy of this person who's probably missing a few screws, who feels she needs to fake a Spanish accent in front of cameras. But what's amazing to me is how many of these people with popular channels online, big name celebrities, jump on that specific story and treat it like a very serious story, and they give it time and they need to discuss it and need to share their point of view on that topic with all of you. And as I watch all this shit show going on and just shake my head at the absolute displays of insanity, right? But also at the same time, it shows the motive of those people with the big followings and the TV screen or the camera in front of their faces, when they are actually all going out at the exact same time and jumping on that same ridiculous waste of time story and sharing their opinions on it with all of you. So I guess the reason I'm mentioning that is, before I give you my opinion on the Oklahoma hunting season being opened up from some governor, number one, I haven't read it. And I guess part of the main reason I'm going to speak about it with everybody right now is that I'll bet you, I don't know, you can look at some of the comments. A friend of mine said there's a gazillion comments on the YouTube channel of people wanting me to know about the Oklahoma hunting season on Sasquatch, Bigfoot. I don't use the word Bigfoot myself. I think that's cheesier than hell. I wish the name Bigfoot would just go away. But anyway, I haven't read it, and I won't read it. My inbox, I have 6 different email addresses, I think, and the inbox of the emails are frickin' choked from all of you emailing me about the Oklahoma hunting season on Sasquatch being opened up. What do I think about it? Who am I? I'm just one of you. But this one time, because it's so popular, so many people emailed in and messaged and commented. I will tell you what I do know about hunting seasons, all right? I've been very closely tied in with conservation of British Columbia and hunting, obviously. But first of all, before there is a hunting season on any species, here in British Columbia or anywhere, first, the population has to be able to sustain responsible hunting each year. And the numbers of the population have to be established, the reproductive habits of that species, the new recruitment of the young that survive through the winter and the spring, and then they lay down how many tags are allotted for the following hunting season, right, to responsibly manage that herd of game animals. And secondly, here in British Columbia, by law, we have to remove all the edible portions of meat. All right? So think about that one. So if this is true, that there's a governor in Oklahoma who is pushing to open up hunting season on Sasquatch before they've even determined if these beings aren't human, before they haven't deemed these beings as an actual game animal with flesh that we can eat and make into sausage, bacon, and steaks and burger and put in our freezer as a game animal. Think about that one. It sounds like a bit of a shit show to me. It sounds like a bit of a shit show, obviously. It sounds like something that the Inquirer would have on the cover of it, but I'm not going to read it. I don't have any interest in this topic. But let's put it this way. If there's actually going to be a hunting season and anywhere on Sasquatch, first they would have to establish that they're a game animal and that they're edible and that the populations can sustain X amount of harvest throughout the year. And if you look at it through common sense, right? So if there is some wingnut who's managed to put himself in the position of governor in the state of Oklahoma and he's pushing to have an open season in Sasquatch, either he's looking for it's a joke, or he's looking for attention, or he has had a very negative experience with Sasquatch in the past, or his family has, or his dogs got killed or something, and he's not only has a couple marbles loose, but he's looking for some revenge on those things. Or they terrify him, they scare the living shit out of him, he wants them all killed. But I wouldn't go worrying about it, you guys. Think about it. Do you realize how many hunters are out there in the woods, especially in the southern states, in the Midwest states, across Canada, everywhere? You know how many guns are in the timber? Human beings cannot offer up protection to these beings. They just can't. I mean, you can think you're going to, but they outclass us. They outclass us fiercely out there. And if anybody's going to know that they're being intentionally hunted by humans, they're going to know it before most of we are going to know it. All right? I'm sure they're going to be fine. But if anything, I would probably, I would strongly suggest that people in the state of Oklahoma look into who they have sitting there as governor and get him evaluated fast. So anyway, that's about all I have to say on that topic. I'll guarantee you, just because some nutcase governor says it's open season in Sasquatch, it's not going to have any impact on the population. Can you imagine that? Imagine if it was that easy, if there's actually that many skilled human beings out there that could outclass the Sasquatch and kill it just like that. And all they needed was the green light to go do it. Just be like, oh, it's open season. I'm going to go shoot me a 6-pack of Sasquatch this weekend. Let's go, boys. You imagine? People are funny, man. People are funny. But anyways, what else do I got here? My little bag of annoying goodies that come out of my brain. More people join the club of no return daily. We don't need to promote the topic. Right, that's another thought I had traveling the other day. I want to pass on. You know, when you see people, that's another reason why you never ever see me saying like, like, subscribe, and share on my on the YouTube channel, because it just doesn't make sense. Promoting, well, how would you benefit promoting the Sasquatch topic? I don't understand how that benefits it, promoting it. There's far more people are in the world who are never ever even going to go near where these beings exist. And like a doctor friend of mine, a veterinary doctor, he owns a couple clinics, and we were talking about this, and he told me flat out. I was talking to him about it and told him what I'd seen, and he didn't really have any interest in it. He said to me flat out, he goes, you know what, Steve, it takes time. That topic takes a lot of time, and it's a lot of time that I don't have. And it's a lot of time that a lot of people don't have. The time that it takes to look thoroughly into that topic to see and realize that it is factual. There's not that many people out there that have that amount of time or the interest, right? So why? I don't understand how you can promote it. You know, come and look into my Bigfoot videos now. Hurry, everybody, come quick, look, watch, like, subscribe, share, click on the bell or whatever the hell it is. It doesn't make sense. But from what I am seeing, it's a topic that I see is promoting itself just fine. And the way it's promoting itself is the new recruitment of the new members that are inducted to the Club of No Return, probably weekly, from what I'm learning in North America. And that is meaning the amount of people that are having first-hand experiences of these beings just here in North America is off the frickin' chart. I'll bet you it's weekly. Easily it's weekly. And that is what promotes this topic. It promotes itself. Every week, brand new people who possibly denied the reality of this topic are having it splatter in their face. There's splatter on their plate right in front of their face, and there's no way of getting out of it. Boom. It just got promoted again. Promoted via them firsthand and via the one or two people they trust in their life who will believe them they can share it with. Boom. It's promoted. And that is why I feel this channel that I have here is gaining in popularity so rapidly. It's a safe place. It's zero bullshit. There's no egomaniacs here trying to control anybody or any narrative. Every single thing is getting shared that comes in. And it promotes itself. And let's face it, those are the only people that count when it comes to this topic. Really. Right? It's getting so... The amount of people that are becoming brave so rapidly and sharing here is really, really picking up speed. You know, this channel is getting 100,000 different video views every 24 hours on average, plus. And just so you know, you cannot watch the same video from the same device and have it count as an additional view. So if you got an iPhone, you watch a video, it counts that one view, and that's it. If you jump onto your laptop at home, watch the same video, then it'll count as another view. But you can't be counted as additional views on videos with one device. It doesn't happen. So think about that one. 100,000 views plus every 24 hours on this channel alone, when it's not being promoted in any way, shape, or form. So that shows me, and it should show you, that this topic promotes itself via the people who have the first-hand experiences. I'm a firm believer that is the reason it is so popular. And I think another thing I want to touch on is a lot of people are wondering why it's so popular. Why are so many more people seeing these things? I don't think it's more people are seeing these beings. What's happened is the internet. We can all communicate with each other at the click of a button around the globe at any time, and that's never been available previously. That's why it's getting more popular, because more and more people around the world are realizing that they're not alone, and there's thousands and thousands of people just like them that have these experiences. That's why it's becoming more popular. It's not because we're being inundated with tribes of Sasquatch getting dropped off from another planet every month. These beings are here, and it's real. And they are seen around the world, and the people around the world now have a way to communicate with each other via the internet. That's what's going down. That's what I think what's going down anyway. I can never tell you guys anything. All I can do is offer up what I think, possibly, and you guys can add to it, and we can all learn from each other, right? So there you go. So those are a few thoughts that I shared, and now I want to get into sharing a few emails. I still got battery power. This cold weather really knocks the crap out of the batteries. And I'll tell you what, the emails have just been piling in. It's crazy. Here's one local I want to share. And before I carry on, I still got some battery power here. I got another camera here with me I can switch up to too, but I want to share this one because it's local. I don't know exactly how many people watch my channel locally. I think it's a fair amount. But listen to this. Hey Steve, my name is Mike Karam. You can say it's K-A-R-A-M, Karam. I grew up in Squamish, BC, from the late 70s to 2000 when I left. I spent almost every weekend playing, hunting, and camping, well, pretty much just living in the mountains that you film in. Beautiful country and yes, unforgiving. My first encounter happened when I was about 13 years old. A few friends and I were out riding dirt bikes up the Thunderbird Ridge on an old skidder road. My bike had stalled, and I was kicking it over trying to get it started, and out of breath. My buddies who had stopped behind me were laughing at me, yelling, "Get that thing started." The laughter stopped, and I heard Kurt say in a voice that was full of fear, "What is that?" And I felt every sense that I knew turn to absolute terror. I turned, and Kurt's face had lost all color as I scanned to see what it was he'd been focusing on. He mumbled, "Bear." No, it wasn't. A huge, hairy body was standing behind the dirt berm in the tree line between two large cedar trees. At 13 years old, I knew exactly what it was, and I can't describe anything about it. I don't even know that I could focus on it. It happened so fast, but I know what it wasn't, and I'd never felt fear like that before. I pushed my bike as fast as I could, full of adrenaline, and jump-started and left. We never spoke about it again. There we go again. Never spoke of it again. So common, it's ridiculous. Frustrates me. But we continued to ride in the skidder roads for a few more years, but always avoided that particular area. The second encounter happened a few months later. There was a trail between the Garibaldi Highlands and Alice Lake. I believe it was an old railroad that ran through there in the early 1900s. Real green, mossy, wet, and lots of old man beard in the trees. You know the typical landscape. A few of us were riding our BMX bikes on the trail, as we often did. I'd stopped to pick a stick out of my front spokes, and my buddies had continued on. I could hear them. I managed to get the stick out and started to pedal off, and stopped. I couldn't hear them anymore, and it became silent. Slowly I felt that fear again slide at my back and knew I was being watched. I scanned around, not seeing anything. It just escalated my fear. That's when I noticed a large black head about 60 yards away poking out from behind a green moss-covered tree. I thought at first, I'm not seeing this, it's just me, but the head disappeared and poked out 3 or 4 times. I was frozen this time, I couldn't move. Then it just disappeared. The silence was broken up by my friends coming back to see what I was taking so long. I managed to hold my shit together and speak a few words, but didn't say anything about what had happened. When I'm in the bush today, I know when I'm being watched to this day. These people are real, and nothing anyone else can say to me will ever change that. Thanks, Steve, for your dedication. P.S. I saw this on the news today, and I forgot to attach it. I think it's that Oklahoma thing that he attached there. Mike. Hey, Mike, thanks for sending that email in, man. I haven't been up that specific trail you're speaking of, but I have obviously been around there. And just so you know, and your friends know, the amount of Sasquatch sightings between Squamish and Whistler is absolutely ridiculous. Even on the islands. A buddy of mine found prints on Gambier Island. There have been howlings and screams across Howe Sound recorded. Numerous sightings in sea shells, obviously. Oh boy, where else the other sightings? I know of a man who delivered the bulk newspapers from Vancouver to Pemberton, 3, 4, 2 in the morning for years, and he's seen them 3 times crossing the highway. Daisy Lake, numerous crossings in the highway there. A couple and the kid ran into, seen 2 of them, I believe, at the Conroy Forest Service Road in the wintertime, and it was walking distance from the paved road up that main line. It's endless. It's endless, all right? So, don't be scared to talk about it, man, all right? Just don't be scared to talk about it. You get a hold of your buddy. Just for shits and giggles, ask your buddy why you guys don't talk about it anymore. Or else, if you understand why you don't talk about it anymore, throw me an email back and let me know your feelings, your thoughts on why you and your buddy don't speak of that being, the first one you guys saw together. It's a topic that I have interest in. Actually, human beings interest me a lot more than a lot of other things. It's amazing for me to watch human beings and see how they act, see how they react, see what they think, and as they stumble through this lifetime, shoulder to shoulder, the rest of us stumble along the way, right? I think it'd be quite handy for us to all learn about that fact, is the fact of why people do not speak with each other after they've had these experiences. I think that'd be very, very handy if we could all come to terms with that and understand why, and possibly we could turn that around, and that would help a lot of people come out in the open with a lot more information than holding it back, right? All right, let's see what else we got in here. Hi Steve, a while back I sent you an email where I explained an experience I had back in the early 70s. Myself and my friend Frank had a Bigfoot paralleling us for 20 minutes while we floated a buck out of the swamp. Well, a few years back, I heard some tree knocks in the same area. But now something has happened that scared the crap out of me. Last week, I went deer hunting in Mississippi with a good friend. The first hunt was on a Sunday afternoon. There's a beautiful spot with a deep, dry creek bed behind me and an open meadow in front of me. Saw a pretty little 4-point about 4 p.m. Nothing else was seen. But at 5:30, I heard the most scary growl howl cut the silence in back of me on the other side of the dry creek bed. This is followed by 2 more of these howls, up until it got dark. I was waiting to be picked up. For some reason, I decided to get out of this area. Not sure if it was the sixth sense telling me to get the hell out. I just started walking out. The trail is about a mile long. Now I am living with a very bad heart, after living 17 years with 5 bypasses, 4 in the main arteries of my heart and another branched off of one by the passes to a small artery. Needless to say, I'm not a cross-country runner. But that night I walked all the way to the trailhead. The length time I walked that mile, I have no idea. It was like I was in a trance. I told no one that night. Not knowing of my experience, my host sent me to the same stand Monday afternoon. Cringe time. My host's son was in that stand in the morning. Saw 10 deer, which 2 were shooters. He passed them because he only had 1 buck tag left and was saving for true big old deer. When I got there, Monday afternoon, nothing, only 1 raccoon and 3 male cardinals. Then 5 o'clock rolled around and started to get ready to leave, when in the same place as the previous afternoon, the howls and the growls started again. I was ready to leave, walking, but the young man showed up. This time I asked the fellow if he had stood in the stand in the afternoon, to which he replied yes, and he had never heard anything. Oh great, now the cat's out of the bag. I'm going to look like some kind of a nervous greenhorn. When I arrived back at camp, he told his dad what I had told him. Surprisingly, his father replied that a fellow who lives not too far from where I was hunting had seen one. I had overdone it by walking out Sunday. My heart was hurting, so I left and I went back home in Louisiana. When I arrived, I showered, went to bed. The next day, while sharing my story to my wife, I was searching the internet for Bigfoot sounds. I found one from Ohio that captured the howls of Bigfoot, and was exactly what I had heard. I was elated that I found proof on the internet that replicated the exact sounds I heard. Vindication. Just thought I would share this event with you. I'm still going deer hunting just as before. Those sounds cannot be replicated by me. They are sounds that no man can make. Finally, I've been in the woods for 60 years. I've heard all the animals, and this was so different. The sounds are terrifying and scares you to the bones. Thanks for this place to tell our experiences. Ron Ryder, South Louisiana. Well, thanks for that email, Ron. I hope you stay healthy and you live a long life. That's quite the amount of work you've had done in your chest. Wow. And what an exercise to put on your ticker after hearing that sound. Obviously, from the dozens of emails everybody shared with all of you through me, those screams, those growls are, unfortunately, they're a common thing, right? But I think the more alarming ones that really have my attention is when the people email us and explain that they felt it. They felt it vibrate through their chest, through their rib cage, through their body. They felt it. And sometimes, I had a couple of people email and say it basically almost sucked the wind out of them. They couldn't speak and they're frozen in place from these screams and growls. What a skill to have to be able to impose that on a human being, isn't it? Especially from out of sight. What an amazing skill. What an amazing, one of the multiple amazing things that go on. It's mind-boggling. Anyway, see, if you look beside me, I don't know if you can see it. There's a creek right there. It pours into Little Lake. It's called Uri Creek. And it's funny, a couple of loggers I was talking to a few weeks ago, they told me flat out, they named, I forget the name of the guy, a long-time local name, white guy and his hunting partner. They went in there hunting, and they made it very clear to everyone in the community they'll never go in there ever again. That's right there. And that's basically, that goes in. You can get up in behind Mount Curry that way too, but just thought I'd note that. that's an area that has been said to be a no-go zone, not only from a couple white guys who had the shit scared out of them right there from these beings, but also from a handful of the First Nation community members who've told me flat out they just don't go over there. And recently I had another First Nations friend tell me flat out that the Sasquatch have been hunting on that side of the Green River. This is time again. That's where they hunt, period. And that's where a lot of these people do not hunt, just because of that reason alone. But anyway, there you go. There's a couple more emails and a bunch of babbling. I hope everybody's safe out there today and doing something healthy and doing something that makes us smile and laugh.